Hey everyone, Aaron here, and this is another anime review. And today's anime review is going to be of Kaze no Stigma, or Kaze of the Wind, depending on what region you actually have this in, because I know it was put under two different monikers. And today's review is anime review number 75. Yeah, 75. I had to think for a second. I'm telling you, I always forget the numbers. I really gotta start writing them down more often. Anyways, though, so I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna give you a little background story of Kaze no Stigma. Kaze no Stigma is what I consider an incomplete series, incomplete series, excuse me, in the sense that the main author for the series died while he was working on the light novel series. So the light novels only go up to 12 volumes. It was unended. We got the anime later on, and it has a different conclusion. So I'm not gonna say that when I review it, I'm not gonna review it on certain things about the ending. For example, I'm gonna review it like I always do review everything else, but note that again, you know, the ending we'll never truly see because we won't see it from the author's point of view. The creator did not have any say in the ending of what we got. So I'm not going to really fault it too much for the ending, what we get, and I'm not going to really go too much on my ending, usual montage of, oh, I don't like this ending or I like this ending. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus on the anime. I'll talk about the ending really fast, but I won't go too much because I don't want to spoil anything anyways. But I won't talk about it too much because I will consider that, hey, the guy died. Again, we will never see his creation come to full fruition, if that makes sense. Anyways, though, Kaze no Stigma is a pretty cool older anime. I notice a lot of people don't talk about it too much, and a lot of people do know about it though. Where our main character Kazuma is a practitioner of wind power, which ironically is considered one of the weakest powers in the show, but he is actually one of the strongest fighters with it because of the fact that he knows how to control it so well, to the point that I'll tell you right now, Kazuma is considered a badass. He's considered one of the most overpowered characters in anime. A lot of people who've seen Kaze no Stigma and talk about overpowered characters will immediately bring up Kazuma because of the fact that he wins every fight. And I'm not spoiling the show overall by saying that, because the show always hints that he's going to win the fight. It always makes it blatantly clear. He fights some of the strongest characters in the initial gate of the show. The first two episodes, I kid you not, he fights them, and he beats the crap out of them. By not, one of the fights he's almost like a draw, but for the most part, he always wins, always comes up very, very minimalistic damage-wise. So he is a very overpowered character, which at times it kind of creates this kind of concept of that he's not going to lose. But at times the story does some cool twists with it, where even though he's so powerful, he doesn't always per se win exactly. And that's where the spoilers end for that, because there are some fights that he might have issues with as the series progresses. I'm not going to say those, but that's how it is. This is a 24 episode anime series, and I really enjoyed it. I actually thought it was a really cool series. Even now, its animation sometimes is a little meh, and some of the characters aren't that good, especially I think the main female protagonist. She's your usual tsundere character, where she's really tough and cutesy inside. She's just putting that front out, but at the same time they're very atypical. They're your characters that you got your characters who are supporting characters, literally support. All they have is like one or two sentences to say in a show, and that's it. And I hate anime when they do that. I think supporting characters should have some role to actually be supporting characters, have more than one or two lines of dialogue, but it's not a big deal. Kaze no Stigma's biggest strength, though, it comes in the cool action sequences, which are freaking amazing. I'll tell you guys right now, I loved the fights. Every fight was really cool. There was not a single fight that I felt like, oh, that could have been done better. Out of 24 episodes, every fight was awesome. And some of the stuff Kazuma pulls out of his hat of tricks, hat of tricks. What is a hat of tricks? I've never heard this statement. I messed up my statement in my head, but the tricks he pulls out of his hat. There we go. Hey, that actually works, and it doesn't sound weird. I'm keeping that in there because I really messed it up. I think it's kind of funny though. Out of the tricks he pulls out of his hat, he does some really cool like wind power magic, where he'll like shoot giant arcs of wind and almost create like blades out of wind. It looks cool. It's really cool to watch. It's something that is the biggest strength of Kaze no Stigma. Story-wise, Kazuma is fighting because of the sole fact that he has something to prove. Two things: he has something to prove, and he has revenge and vendetta, where he wants to avenge the girl that he fell in love with, who died from. I'm not gonna spoil why, but she did die. He wants to figure out what happened and who killed her. And he also has something to prove because he was banished from his family for having no power to actually use fire magic, which his family is known for. having supreme fire magic, and here he is using wind, which he's sufficient in and efficient. But lo and behold, they don't want that. They want fire. And that's not per se that great of a plot. I think it's been done millions and millions of times before, having the character have something to prove and having revenge plots. But at least in the show, it works as a good kind of just, hey, let's just keep going with this. It doesn't ever deviate from that concept. It doesn't try to add too much or subtract too much from those concepts. It's an issue with it. At the same time, it's something that keeps the show together on just a normal path. And Kaze no Stigma, again, from outside from the actual cool fights and such, is not a great show, but it's a good show. You watch it, you enjoy it for what it is, and it's not forgettable. It's something that you'll remember later on, but overall, it's just not going to do very much for you years later. You're not going to go, oh, I want to watch that again right now. I got to watch it again. No, you'll probably be like, nah, I remember the series. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. And that's I think the biggest fault for Kaze no Stigma is that it doesn't have a lot of oomph moments that other anime have. That that factor of, wow, I can remember that 20 years from now. It's more so like, oh yeah, I remember the character because he was overpowered. That's a shame, because I think this show really, probably if the author would have survived and finished the show completely, we probably would have gotten a different, I think, concept of it. And ironically enough, the light novel version and the manga version and the anime version of Kazuma is very different. The manga version of Kazuma is actually very serious, and he actually kills people in the show, which he doesn't do in the show. He doesn't kill anyone in the show, except for, like, I think, the last couple of enemies that he fights. But he always just harms them. He only harms them to the point that they can't fight anymore. Incapacitates them. And in the manga, he just blatantly kills them, which is very odd. That's a very kind of weird shift to have for a manga. In the light novels, also, I think he was a mixture of both characters, both the manga and the anime. More so, I think, also like the manga, he was more bent on killing people to just prove his point. But overall, what we get, Kaze no Stigma, is a good show. That's the bottom line. If I review it A through F, I give it a solid B. It's got a good story for the most part. It's not great, but it's a good story. It works for what it does. It's got some awesome fights. That's probably the best thing about the show. And overall, the support characters could have been a little bit better, but they're, not horrible. They're not the worst support characters. I've seen anime with horrible support characters. The music and the voice acting, I have to say, is forgettable. I honestly cannot remember any of the music for Kaze no Stigma. I hate to say that, but I don't remember any of the music being that great. But I do remember the voice acting being okay at times. The main character is really cool. The side character is very famous too. The mains are very famous and good. Everyone else is like, man, okay. But anyways, guys, that's it for this review. I hope you guys liked it. I know it might have seemed like a little bit of a kind of weaker review, but I feel like it's harder to review stuff that's not complete. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though the show is complete per se, it is not what originally was meant to be, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, there's another series called MM, which I'm going to review probably soon, which also was not complete by the main author because the main author died for it. And it's hard to review those because I think that, in a way, you have to almost be forgiving for certain concepts. You can't say that, oh, it could have been better, it could have done this better, because you don't know how it could have come to fruition. You don't know how it could have ended. But what we get, at least with Kaze no Stigma, at least, I think, is a decent story, a good ending. Everything works for the most part. It's just not great. Anyways, guys, again, though, that's it for this review. I hope I'm not going to keep you guys any longer today. Please like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out. And as always, until I pass across again in the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye.